Good morning and welcome to Coffee and, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee and panel.
It is Coffee and here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us Wednesday morning, July the 9th. And I'm Joe Callahan. Going around the table, we'll say good morning to Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
And Tim Draper from Navigating Credit Union. Hi, Tim.
Good morning, everyone.
And John Ward is here as well.
Hello.
And we got to get our first message, Melissa, from the St.
I have
Antoine
to brush off the rust.
Communities.
I
know.
feel like I haven't been here much this
one
summer.
whole week off.
One whole week off, and she's
well, and 2 weeks ago I had a week off. Like it's been intermittent. I feel a little scattered. We have a lot to get caught up
got
on.
that good union thing going.
Yeah. I wish. Anyways, so for those of you that don't know a lot about St. Antoine Community, we are located in North Smithfield, and we are right on the line of Woonsocket and Blackstone, Mass. On our property, we offer an expansive continuum of services from assisted living to long and short-term skilled care. We have a wonderful state-of-the-art rehab facility, as well as 2 levels of memory care. So if you are interested in learning more about the services we have to offer on our property, I encourage you to reach out to me. Be happy to walk you through your options or give you a tour of our beautiful campus. You can reach me at 401-767-3500 or email me at msmith@santantoine.net.
All right, Melissa, thank you very much. Don't know if you realize this, but it was a miracle last night at Fenway Park. Do you know what it was?
They won?
They did win,
Sorry,
yes.
I haven't been following.
That's not the
Okay.
miracle.
Okay. I did not hear
the
anything.
game. I'm trying to think of what it was.
Pitcher went 9 innings.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Full-
Bale,
full-
9 innings.
It's
complete game.
a complete game.
I almost
And a
thought
win.
they were going to
I was
pull
like,
him in the ninth inning, though. He had those 2 hits.
Yeah, I
I
know.
think they're going
It's
to pull
like-
him, but
I go,
you know what?
you never see this anymore.
It was
It's like,
104 pitches?
Something like that.
Wow.
It was just a little over 100, so he made it. So good for Brian Bello. So for
They
taking
were
care of
very,
that.
very happy about that. Boy, that leaves the relief pitchers a little
Oh, a lot. That's
relieved.
great. Tim, tell us about your drive-in today. What you ran into some issues.
Oh, yeah. So just interesting. For anybody coming up Sales Hill Road from Lincoln to 146, if you're going 146 north, if it's still there looked like there might have been a truck stuck on the on-ramp to 146 north, which backed up the traffic on Sales Hill Road.
On the flyover? Is that what you're saying?
No, this was
On the
on the
side
ramp.
of it.
On the regular
the side of it to go up
Oh.
the thing. And so I
The one lane,
The
once
one
blocked,
lane.
everybody stops.
Right. So I was patient, and which I'm very not usually in traffic, got up to where I could turn the corner and see what was going on, and I saw a police cruiser at the end of the ramp, lights on, so that seemed to be a truck stopping, and then I saw the road to the left and said, if I don't turn here now, I got to go down 146 south because that was open, turn around, come back up over the and I'm not sure what that traffic looks like.
Yep.
According to Waze, it was red. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to make that turn around and come back. So anybody driving up Sales Hill Road, just be cautious. You may, if you see some traffic there, I would just turn around.
Gold star for
Traffic reporting.
well, pivoting and
yeah.
navigating the situation and getting here before I did.
So much fun.
I mean, wow.
I called Joe. I'm like, I think I'm going to be late because I really wasn't sure exactly how fast I could get it. But, you break a few land speed records, you
Yeah.
find some shortcuts.
That
and
flyover
everything's
bridge,
good.
I've been stuck a couple times with people who've broken down, like not on the ramp, thankfully,
Yeah.
before it, and I've been able to kind of like pivot around. But
It'll
that
be
is
great.
a very panicky moment. If
Right.
to
It'll
get
be
stuck
great.
on that flyover, if you ever had to, I know it was the other lane, but that would panic me more than
When
the
it's
other
open,
lane.
I think it'll be good.
it'll be fine.
When I was going over the flyover bridge this morning, looking to the right to the people that are going up the Sales Hill Road, it was all backed up. Past the ice rink, I'm like, that's interesting. I wonder what's going on over there. And
Yeah,
now Tim
now
let
you
us know.
know.
So there
I
you go.
think what happens is people still think that they can stay in that right-hand lane, and they don't realize that the flyover is the flyover, and they
Yeah.
just, I'm going
Well,
to
I
stop
get-
at the lights. I'll just go back up the.
Yeah.
You
and
can.
They could.
Well, not this morning. No.
Right.
No.
So that's probably why you
it's
had
still
that
a
backup.
mess. I don't know what. I mean, how much longer? We got like 3 years. I don't even know how many more
No,
I
years.
don't think so.
I still have the press release I got from 2024.
Oh, you're
says it'll
hanging
be
on to it?
Yes.
You're holding everybody
You're
accountable.
holding them accountable.
Yes, because they said they'll be done in 2026. The whole, and I don't see how.
I think
because they all the way
no.
down to 99 as well.
No, I
It's
think
supposed to be true.
it will, because I noticed that they were paving the official off ramp to 146A to head to Woonsocket. They've got that ramp that they were paving just yesterday, and the new bridge section for the northbound lanes across over the 146A connector coming in look like they're pretty close to finished, and they may be getting paved. And once that's done, then the only lane left is the southbound lanes.
But aren't they supposed to
have to be
fix the
finished up.
interchange of 99 and 146 and make that better?
99 and 146?
Yes.
I
Well, they were doing some.
don't think so, no. But they are going to basically pave from 295 all the way up to the Mass line when it's all finished, too. Because they've been cutting those slots north
All
of
right.
146.
In the plan that you're discussing, because I lost track. The original plan, the visual of the whole thing never clicked in for me, and it's getting better. I can start to see the whole thing. But as someone who lives up in this area, what I never understood being addressed in there and hoping they're going to address somehow is when you're going 146 south past Dunkin' Donuts and you need to get over to 295 and you have 99 merging down
Yeah.
on top of you, and it's like
You got 3 seconds
you're
to make those
taking
moves.
your life in your own hands
Right.
trying to cross over because the people coming down 99 are flying in the left lane
Right.
because the signs above them are very deceiving because it's a straight arrow. It doesn't give you like a yield indicator or like a
Right.
beware of merging traffic indicator. So they just fly blindly, and you're trying to cut over to 295. And I was hoping in this plan that would be
Yeah. That's,
somehow
Well,
addressed.
I have the
maybe
original
maybe
press
there
release.
is, but I don't.
The
I
original
don't
press
recollect
release
that.
is from 2022, saying they will complete this in 2026.
Okay.
And it does address it. It does say extending the weave length for the Route 99 ramp and Route 146 south, improving the geometry of the I-295 southbound off-ramp to Route 146.
I don't know how they're going to do
Does that make any sense?
I
to
don't know
anybody?
how they're going to do it either unless they
I don't
keep
know.
it up close. Like it's the line of vision, and there's not enough length of
There's
road.
not enough room from where the bottom of the off-ramp is.
The other side of that that's awkward too is the lane coming off of 295 south to get onto 146 south.
Right.
100%.
When
yes.
they're merging
Yes.
in and you're
Yep.
trying to stay in 116
Yes.
to get onto 116, it's almost like they need one more lane in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you get a merging lane.
They can just pop up another little flyover spot for, just pop that up, throw that in.
What I
It'll
think is
ta-
I'm guessing the bridge work they're doing on 295, when they're through and they open up all those lanes they've got closed, maybe the configuration will be different.
The craziest part of this whole 146 interchange is 146 south, where you get on to 146A north, I think. So when you come down,
Oh, we used to make a left-hand turn to,
yeah,
like, to do a
which you
U-turn?
can't make anymore. You can't make the U-turn.
No,
But now they
can't
get
do
you
that.
coming under the bridge in the opposite direction of the traffic to a light that makes you cross.
Yeah, that's
yes.
going to go away.
And that
That's
looks
gonna go
weird.
away.
It
But
should.
how,
Yeah.
is it going to go back to the U-turn?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
I think that's
How,
gonna be
then how are
closed
you
off.
going to get there?
You know how you can see all that confusion when you're sitting at the light of like 146A and you look to your left and you kind of see like how they dump in?
Yeah.
There's such potential right now for people to go the wrong way.
Oh
Up
yeah.
those like there's no real. Do you know what I'm talking about, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
You're nodding with me, but I don't know if you really know where I am.
Where is this?
But I've looked to my left and I said, "Oh my gosh! All it's going to take is one person not from the area to just hook a left, thinking they're getting onto 146,
46,
going the
right.
wrong way."
Yeah.
It's
It's,
possible.
that-
just,
in
it's
that
very
area,
strange.
underneath that
It's not
bridge.
very well signed indicator.
Well, if that goes away, then great. But I just don't. They haven't
Yeah.
look. It doesn't look like they've built anything to make it go away.
No.
Nothing
You
in
know
the-
what? You're
Other than the
retired.
internet.
I feel like go take a little loop after the show. Just
Drive around.
Drive around. Give
They
us
have
a
some
little.
suggestions. The DOT will love to hear from you.
Reconnoiter.
And by the way, there's nothing in that press release about fixing where 295 south gets onto 146 north and 99's right there.
Yeah.
Fixing that little interchange.
yeah,
so
that's
there's
another
nothing in
spot.
there about
Yep.
that.
All right,
So,
yep.
all right. Well, that's
2026, huh?
That yes, I can show it to you.
We just gave them a few revisions
I know.
to the project.
Some
See
change
you in
orders.
2030. I
Couple
know.
of change orders.
Well, they have to get it done by 2026 so the governor can be there as part of his election effort.
Cut
Well,
the ribbon.
they cut the ribbon. Okay, there you go.
In the
All right.
middle of 146.
Dave had this in the news this morning. The WWE was in Providence on Monday.
Yes. they
And
were.
while they were there, two of the wrestlers, by the way, are married to each other. I don't know if you know this, but I don't even know who they are. Seth Rollins
Seth Rollins
and Becky Lynch
Becky Lynch yes.
are
The man.
married, and they have kids.
Yes,
And
they
while
do.
they were performing here in Providence, their home in Los Angeles was being broken into.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe some people were pretty smart. Hey, they're 3,000 miles away, so good time to break in. So it was broken around 3 in the morning, Tuesday morning. No one was home at the time, which means they must have brought their kids with them to Providence.
The kids are young.
Yeah, very young.
Yeah, I mean, she only had the baby 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah. But no suspects yet. But that's
Or
what.
might have been left with family.
There's a lot of
Could have
Hollywood
been.
thievery going on, right?
Thievery?
Yeah, is that the word? I mean, was it Patrick Mahomes and
Yeah.
His wife?
Travis
Travis
Kelce.
Kelce.
I
Yeah.
think was.
there was
and, yeah.
a bunch of famous people out there. Who
The only Hollywood that matters to me this week is Superman is out.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were going to say the Desperate Housewives of Rhode Island.
We did get a note called in.
And then soon to follow is the cartoonish or comic strip type Fantastic Four.
You looking forward to that, too?
Not as much.
766-1240 if you want to call in a note. And this has been called in. It just wants to know, how will Trump's new bill affect seniors who are on Medicaid and SNAP programs?
Big, beautiful bill.
The big, beautiful bill. As long as they're residents of the United States, I don't think it's going to affect them at all.
Two phases to that. If they're
Okay.
well, you're not eligible technically if you're not a citizen, but states have allowed it.
Okay.
And the states will be cut off from that funding reimbursement from the feds. So if the states continue to do it, it's going to be on their own dime and their own tax collections. And then the administrative structural fees are going to change, which is going to hurt nursing homes, hospitals, doctors' offices. And so the patient may not feel it, but the business will probably feel it pretty badly.
No.
Oh, we're feeling lots of things.
Lucky you.
Yeah,
over
I
there
know.
at St. Antoine's. Wow.
All the things.
Yeah. Anything about SNAP, though? Or?
SNAP is just generally, I think, going to be reduced. Don't know exactly why.
This is not appropriate to say fun fact.
But yes,
Interesting
that's
fact
another
about
one of
SNAP.
those where apparently some states are giving SNAP benefits to people who are not citizens, and by federal law, they're not supposed to be giving
Okay.
benefits like that to non-citizens, and that may be reduced as a result of non-citizen participation in various states. Probably only affecting mostly the states where non-citizens are allowed to participate, Rhode Island among them.
Okay.
So interesting fact. Glad I had a chance to rephrase because I started out saying fun fact because but it's not a fun fact. It's just all tragic. But I remember working in the community in senior services 7 years ago and getting often frequent calls from SNAP offices and Department of Food and Wellness within, I'm trying to think if it was like CACFP or one of those other subdivisions that was responsible for issuing out SNAP benefits. And they had a real drop in registration. And this was going on for a couple of years that I won't say they were harassing me, but they were really reaching out hard saying I don't understand. We're trying to reach people. We're trying to identify people who need SNAP benefits. Keep some applications in your office. Try to identify, they were really trying to recruit. And I'm not saying that it wasn't, that there isn't a need out there or anything to that effect, but they were really struggling to get the word out on who was eligible for SNAP benefits. So I wonder if in some ways what's going on with the big beautiful bill, and I'm not supporting a lot of it, but in that particular topic of conversation, if it more had to do with they were allocating more than they needed to that benefit, people that weren't reaching out to get it maybe didn't need it, or they were finding other avenues to get food support.
I
So
thought
just
they-
thinking that through.
And weren't they also talking about limiting some of the things that
The
you could
items
get
on it.
with SNAP?
Yes.
They
Yep.
talk
mean-
about that all the time.
Yeah, but to
Yep.
me, that's an easy fix, isn't
100%,
it?
yeah.
I mean, other than people will be mad that they can't go out and buy
Coke.
sugary Coke with it or whatever, but if you can buy other things that are better for you, they're also probably going to cost more, but
Stick to
Oh,
the
John's
fruits and
coming out with a
vegetables.
fun fact himself. His eyes got
I'm
very
looking at 'em, I love
excited.
it.
Fun fact, yes.
Fun fact, here we go.
I subscribe to the Globe, and Steph Machado, who does work for the Globe now, wrote a column about education funding cuts from the Trump administration, which is part of their reductions or elimination of the Department of Education federally. And apparently she came to discover that the state of Rhode Island will be having reductions in federal funding of programs in education by $29.4 million. And professional development funding from the feds will be decreased by $10.8 million. The academic enrichment programs, these are all those programs under title names. Title II is professional development. Academic enrichment is $6,659,000 cut. After school and summer programs, $6.5 million cut. English language acquisition, $2.9 million cut, and adult education, $2.4 million cut, for a total of $29,371,806.
You know what would be interesting,
That
John?
will take effect October 1st,
How-
which means the state has to rearrange or do something about whether they're going to try to fund it out of state resources, or if the school districts simply have to say, game over.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what the amount of each of those categories is before the cuts. And what impact is that cut? Is it 10%,
what does that
20%,
represent?
50%, 100%?
Well, you keep talking, and I'll see
Okay.
if the
we're gonna
article
see if we can-
mentions.
Does
well, I
it
mean, because
in-
if you cut it 1% or 2%, what was the increase for this year? Was it 3%? And now you're just going to cut it back? Because that's the other thing they like to do. They like to say, oh, they're cutting these things, but they're also increasing them by 3 and 4% every year.
Yeah.
So if you just reduce the increase,
Right.
you've saved money
I'd
in
also
your
like
budget.
to know just the evidence behind it. When you make the decision to say 1, 2, 3%, whatever that, if it's a percent
yeah.
even, or in this case, it might just be 1 million here, 2 million there. Like,
Right.
it might not even, just give me the science, give me the evidence so I can stand behind it. But I think when data shows like utilization, especially in our industry or in terms of education in those programs, like give me utilization stats too. Tell me how many kids are enrolled in those programs, how many are going to be impacted. Has the number of kids enrolled in those programs decreased over the last few years, which is why they're going to validate decrease.
Yeah.
There's no conversation about the rationalization behind any decision. So you're just sitting there floundering and
That's because there's no accountability in any of the decisions that they make. Oh,
Got
there
it.
we go.
The withheld funds represent about 17% of Rhode Island's federal money for K-12 education. Now,
big.
you can't take that on its face either, because 17% of Rhode Island's federal money includes Title I, which is all the special ed services. So this could be 100% of all of those categories, representing 17% of the total. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we got to take a break right now.
Why?
Because I'm looking at the clock.
we have
and-
so many more questions.
what we
Push
gotta
through the
do.
break. There doesn't need to be a commercial. It's totally
Just because
fine.
somebody says so?
That's right. Melissa, time for a second message from the St. Antoine communities, please.
Right. So the last time I was here, a couple weeks ago, we unfortunately had to cancel our longest day event due to poor weather, which has pretty much been, I don't know, for the last like 3 months, I feel like every Saturday's been impacted. Now it's
Yep.
shifted to Wednesdays. It looks like it's going to be Thursdays now going for whatever. It's just, we had to cancel the event, unfortunately, and we are preparing to reschedule it for next Wednesday. That is right now how it stands. The weather doesn't look good for next Wednesday, but it's too far out. But my point in sharing this is that we obviously, because we had to change the date, also extended the opportunity to purchase a pinwheel and make a donation to the Alzheimer's Association. So we are selling purple pinwheels, $5 a piece. You can write a little message to a loved one that may be impacted by this awful disease, and we will be displaying them on our John St. Sever walking path on the property of St. Antoine Community. So next week at 10:30 in the morning, we're going to have a big event. Live music, refreshments, the display will be up, and we will be celebrating all the funds that we've raised for the Alzheimer's Association. So if you are interested in participating and learning more, you can reach out at 401-767-3500 or jump on our website, stantoine.net.
Thanks, Melissa. More of the Coffee and program coming your way. Stay tuned.
ON Radio.
Are you retired or retiring soon? That's great. Congratulations. You may be retiring, but your money can't afford to retire. I'm Ed Carew of the Carew Investment Group at 2190 Mendon Road, Suite 3, Cumberland, Rhode Island. At the Carew Investment Group, we offer personal investment management of client money, especially from the proceeds of their 401k distribution after they leave the workforce. So to find out more about our services and for professional management of your investments, call Ed or Paul Carew at 765-8880. Securities are offered through Bolton Global Capital, member FINRA and SIPC, and advisory services offered through Bolton Global Asset Management, a registered investment advisor.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin. And that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON Radio.
It is Coffee In on ON AM and FM. I'm Joe Callahan here with John Ward and Tim Draper and Melissa Smith. And Melissa was telling us off air that your youngest daughter has got her first.
We're jumping
Yes.
away from heavy, serious
Back to fun
topics
stuff.
into
Right.
it.
Back to
Who
fun
would like
stuff.
a lovely little?
He just doesn't want to talk about the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up.
I want to talk about the Jeffrey Epstein
Yeah, okay, we'll get
cover-up. Can we get there?
Okay. Is there a list or is there not a list?
There is totally a list.
But where is it and who has it?
I think that
And
is
who's covering it
what
up?
we could all assume and where we could all assume it is, and we could all assume who's involved in the cover-up of it.
Wow, she's got that nailed.
This is not. So I watched.
say there's not a list.
What the
Okay.
heck was it called? There was a member of the royal family.
Andrew.
It's
Thank you. There was a documentary on him.
Yeah.
I watched it. We talk a lot about the documentaries I watch. This is all my winter treadmill stuff. I'm just letting you know. That's where this time comes in. Anyways, and there was a whole story on him and his friendship with Epstein and being seen with him. And then there's one particular like paparazzi photographer guy who was sort of featured in the documentary. And he talked about all of the famous people that he saw going in and out of this particular townhouse that was like trafficking these young girls. And he had this like side, Prince Andrew had this side hustle. I don't even call it a hustle, but he had this foundation of sorts where he was grooming like young kids for tomorrow, like trying to provide this platform. But
Sure he
people
was.
were looking into that as like, was he really just trying to identify young girls to recruit for this? It's awful. It's scandalous. It's awful. But this has been going on for so long. And when you think about the depths and the connections of all these people, famous people, and I think you just subpoena all the paparazzis and all the photographers that have taken pictures of who's been where and who's coming out of what door, because you can assume a lot just from a photo.
Yeah.
Go.
You don't think there's a list?
I don't think there's a written list.
Oh, right.
A couple of things trouble me about this. Trump's reaction to the report yesterday was so badly done that it clearly indicates a defensiveness to the whole thing. That there's something there that he doesn't want to talk about.
Can you elaborate? I actually didn't hear that. What did he say?
He chided the reporter for even asking about Jeffrey Epstein because we have so many things going on in Texas, and we have this and we have that, and why are you even asking that scum? And he's, we've been doing that for years and years, and he was very dismissive, very Baldelli Huntish about how he was going to deflect off to something else.
Yeah.
And that's not the proper answer. The proper answer would have been to explain whatever it is he knew for certain and say, can we put this behind us now at the end of a statement like that, but not to ridicule the reporter for even asking. The fact that Bondi was out over her skis in February, probably never having looked at one document yet, making the claim that, yeah, it's all here and we're going to review it. It was implied into that she knew of a list. But when I went back and looked at the U.S. Attorney's report on Maxwell and her trial, two things stand out. One is when witnesses were about to be asked about other people who they may have engaged with besides Epstein and Maxwell, the judge ordered them not to discuss that because it's not germane to the charges which are against Maxwell for trafficking in underage girls for Epstein. And it was specifically her charges were against her related to activity or service issue provided for Epstein, not for anyone else. And that's why they were told, we're not here to talk about anyone else. We're here to talk about Epstein. So the U.S. Attorney's Office even restricted the information coming out during that trial to Epstein only. Now, from that, if you read it, you can come to the conclusion that Epstein's a pervert. He liked his little girls. Maxwell was a pervert. She arranged it for him, liked to watch, participate, whatever. But that they did it more as a hobby on the side while they were somehow connected to all of these the wealthiest people in the world, even though he had no background to justify it. So there's a better case that he was actually a CIA mole, feeding them information that he was collecting from all these people in high places. And the only place I can think of where I sense there may have been some inappropriate activity with Epstein was in foreign nations in Europe. Not so much in the United States, not so much with Clinton or Trump or whoever else he may have been involved in the United States, Gates or Dershowitz or all those guys. That was all just collecting information for someone else. And playing around with something more useful to him maybe in Europe.
Interesting.
Just my
Okay,
again,
wasn't
that's how
thinking
I'm,
of that.
Yeah.
But the down and dirty is, even if people like Clinton and
But
Trump
there's
didn't
more
participate
that we will never
in-
know.
Right.
I think there's more that we'll
they
never
still
know.
associated with these people who they were. You can't tell me they weren't aware of their conduct, and you can't tell me they weren't aware
I'm
of
sure
what
they were.
engaging in. And so that's what makes me really sick to my stomach over politics in general, because it's always about.
And
But it's
I
not
hate,
just
I hate to
donors.
disappoint
It's
you,
not
but I
just
think that's
politics.
why Trump walked away from him and threw him to the side back when he did, was because when he learned about what a perv he was and what he was doing, Trump has his own issues.
Gotta get
But
away.
at some point he said, I got to get away from this guy. He's going to get me killed or get me in big trouble.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Another angle to think of.
But as with Generalissimo Francisco Franco, he is
dead?
still dead.
Okay, very good. Well, that man out in Burrville that allegedly pointed a gun right at the police officer. I don't know how they didn't shoot him, but they didn't. He entered no plea when he was arraigned on Tuesday. Nicholas Smith faces charges included assault with a deadly weapon, possession of a firearm while intoxicated, and his bail is set at $10,000.
That's it.
That is insane to me.
Too
That
low?
is insane. Oh yeah.
Okay.
They need to make an example out of this.
You can see the video footage. You can see the body cam video because the Burrville police have released it of the incident that took place on July the 3rd out there on Tuckland Road.
Yeah. Saw it. It was not good.
Is it pretty evident that the gun is right out in front?
It's a little, choppy, the video. It's
Yeah.
hard to totally get that, but you certainly can see how that all took place.
If you don't enter a plea, I thought a plea is entered for you of a not guilty.
And felony charges, I thought that's automatic.
I thought it was too.
That if you don't enter a plea, it's a not
One
guilty
will be
plea.
entered for
Yeah.
you.
So by him not doing it, is it just automatic? But didn't say that in the story?
It doesn't say.
Weird.
Just
No,
said
you'll
he
have to wait
did.
till
He said
tomorrow
he
to get that answer.
did not enter a plea.
Ask Bob.
You'll find
I will.
out tomorrow.
Question. Bob Law. Start
unless that's
right off.
tomorrow.
I'm going to be tuning in at 8 o'clock. I want to see the answer to that question.
All right, and let's see the big fire in Barrington, by the way. 4-alarm fire at this house.
Was it the one on the
Barrington,
construction
yes.
that the guys might have set it off? The construction guys might have set it off?
No, I think it was already built. Barrington House uninhabitable following a 4-alarm fire on Tuesday. They were called to Talcott Street around 11 in the morning, and crews from Bristol, Warren, East Providence, and Seekonk called in to assist. Workers had reportedly been doing so-called hot work, that's in quotes, on the home that may have involved flame or spark-producing operations.
That was the one.
But the cause of the fire is under investigation.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Officials
believe
say-
it would probably be heat.
If you're a plumber and you're using a torch and you're...
Something's not right.
Yeah. Oops.
Several firefighters were treated at the scene, heat exhaustion, but there were no other injuries.
Yeah. Barrington's
that's
been
good.
whacked over the last week or so, haven't they?
Yes.
Between all the power outages and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Anybody see the lightning last night?
Yes.
Pretty intense.
Kept me up
hear
until
it?
like 2 in the morning.
I lost power.
You did?
Somewhere during the
Oh,
night.
I didn't realize that.
We-
I don't know how long
flickering.
it was out. It was like somewhere. It came back on at 1:15 because by measuring the hours on the clock, I could tell. But I don't know what time it actually went out at my house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a little annoyed with the inaccuracy of the weather app. So if any listener
Yes. Noah's app is awful.
I was watching
Provide
radar like we were
another-
going to get crushed at 7
I
o'clock.
know nothing.
And so I'm out at 7 o'clock. And it's like,
It's sunny. There's
Sky.
puffy clouds. I'm like, I think that's what's. So we are constantly trying to plan events at work, and I am constantly up against
That.
the weather. We have
Yeah.
we have an outdoor concert tomorrow night at the Villa that I didn't even mention yet. 6 o'clock. When I tell you for the last 3 years, Thursday nights for some reason are a magnet for bad weather, but it predicts bad weather, and then all of a sudden at 6 o'clock, miraculously, the sun comes out. Yeah. And we've canceled it, and you just regret it, but you can't take the chance.
It's like last
And
Thursday
tomorrow
with the
it's the same thing.
fireworks.
That's right.
Yeah.
The fireworks here in
Woonsocket.
Woonsocket.
It was like the skies opened up at about what?
9:15.
Yeah, and then
Wednesday
by
or Thursday?
9:15 they're shooting off the
Shooting off.
fireworks.
Yeah,
And
Wednesday
then-
or Thursday?
This was
Thursday.
Thursday.
Wednesday in Cumberland was the same issue. With the
Yeah.
sky opened up, poured, because I
Yeah.
was at a party, and we all went inside, all
Right.
60 people and all of their children. And then at 9:05, it stopped, and the fireworks went off. And they had to, because apparently there's a state law that once you set them up, you have to shoot them off. You can't
I don't know if it's a
disassemble
state law,
fireworks.
but the fireworks people say we can't disassemble it.
No, I think it's a state. You're right. The town website kept saying
Well.
state law
Oh, well,
says
okay.
that you have
The
to.
nature of our state is they would make a law about something.
That is true.
Well,
we can
there was
assume
even
that.
on my daughter's graduation day, and I know Woonsocket we had the same date as Woonsocket High School, and there was a big uproar from the parents in Woonsocket because they
Moved it
rescheduled it to be indoors, and we kept ours outdoors. I don't know why we gambled that, but we did, and we lucked out with that because it held off. But we were supposed to get severe weather that night, and Woonsocket moved it indoors, and of course parents are upset because they had limited seating available, and a lot of the parents that had tickets were still
Couldn't get
stopped
their
at the door
seats.
because whatever
It was full.
they didn't account, or they didn't do proper math for the amount of seats. But my point is, it's just that it's like, oh my God, can we not get more accurate forecast by 12 o'clock midday for something that's even 2 or 3 hours later? You still can't even get it accurate. So give me an app. That was my point. Listeners, if anybody has a better app than the Weather Channel, I would
Yeah, I
love a
use weather- I use
recommendation.
NOAA. And
They're
NOAA's
all.
not that great.
They must all be bad because I use Channel 12's weather app, and
It's just still
it
not
had the
accurate.
radar. It had the radar coming over our head 3 times in the afternoon, and then by the time we got to the evening, nothing. And it all
Yeah.
went by. Newport got crushed apparently.
Yeah,
and
there
it
was
all went
flash
south
flooding
of us,
in
and then
Cranston.
it
Was
only
someone-
It was only after midnight it managed to wake its way up over to.
Yeah,
over
there was
us.
someone who got in floodwaters in Cranston. I think
Really?
they had like flash flooding. Someone's car. Someone had to be rescued.
Yeah, but people
It's
who drive
just-
through those spots like crazy.
Oh my God.
They
Oh, I can
deserve,
make it.
They deserve getting flooded and having their car ruined.
All right, we
know.
can take a break here on Coffee and more coming your way. Time for the forecast. Speaking of the weather, and it's being brought to you by
I know.
Amazon Prime Day.
More clouds than sun today with a high near 80 degrees and a breeze from the north. There's only a 30% chance of a shower, but if you get one, it could be heavy, up to a half an inch of rain. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 66. Another small chance of a shower or thunderstorm overnight. Thursday's weather, a 70% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Cloudy skies, 75 degrees. Friday, mostly cloudy with a high of 81. Saturday, partly sunny and 84. Sunday, partial sunshine and 85. Calm wind. Monday, partly sunny and 87. And Tuesday, mostly sunny and a high of 89 degrees.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave, Kennedy Street, cloudy skies. It's humid, and we have 71 degrees. Okay, there's some great news. Prime Day is here, and this year Prime Day is lasting 4 days. So you can save big on everything you're into. Shop Prime Day from now through July the 11th.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Mosquito bites can make you sick from diseases like Triple E and West Nile virus. Use an EPA-approved insect repellent anytime you're outdoors. Wearing the right clothing like long pants and long sleeves also helps. Check your window screens and empty standing water. These simple steps can fight the bite, especially at dusk and dawn. Use insect repellent, cover up, and stay away from mosquitoes. Visit health.ri.gov/mosquito for information. A message from the Rhode Island Department of Health and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
We're local and live at 99.5 FM.
It's Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with John Ward, Melissa Smith, and Tim Draper. Tim, time for first message from Navigant Credit Union.
Just a couple of quick points of order for those folks using our telephone banking system or our digital tools. We have some upgrades that have happened over the past month or so with our technology, which will make your experience with the credit union a whole lot better. First off, our contact center has some new prompts, so you want to listen through to them. But we try to answer your questions as quickly and as efficiently as possible without making you wait on hold for an agent. And if you have to wait, we try to keep those waits down to an absolute minimum, which is very good. Generally, I think we're under a minute for most of our wait times, which is fantastic. And then if you use our digital technology, we have a great new chat feature, which pops up on your mobile device or your online banking. It's available 24/7. We do use an automated, as they say, bot to try to answer the basic questions that you might have, like what's your routing number, what's your address, what are your hours. But if you have more specific questions, they'll channel you or direct you right through to one of our contact center agents who will be happy to assist you. So both services make your experience with Navigant a lot quicker and more efficient. And if you have any questions that we can't answer, you can always come up here to the Park Square branch and talk to Christian and his crew because they are fantastic. NavigantCU.org or 233-4700.
All right, Tim, thanks. Well, the Department of Health here in Rhode Island, they're a little concerned. They've issued a spike alert about overdoses in the rural communities. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking Burrillville, Foster, Gloucester, East Greenwich. I don't consider them that rural, but at West Greenwich, that's rural. Exeter, Richmond, and Hopkinton. Those are all out in the sticks.
Yeah,
And they're
I
having
do feel
overdose
like,
spikes.
obviously, with my line of work, I peruse through obituaries pretty often, but it does feel like there's a lot more young people
Yeah.
listed in obituaries. It's kind of scary. You know, we've had some coworkers who've lost some young loved ones, and you don't really discuss the details, but you have to assume there's probably some drug involvement. It's just tragic. It just feels like it's happening more and more for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
and-
Do you get the alerts on your phone for that? I mean, on the
For-
social media, like the updated report from Department of Health? And they
I
do the
don't.
little map and they show you all the dots of where there's like opioid
Really?
overdoses.
get that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I get that on my social media feed just because I'm on the alerts anyways for DOH. But it's alarming, especially if you have young kids. You're like, you assume your kid's not.
Is it tied to any particular
Any
Let me
drug?
show it to you.
medication?
No, it doesn't say. It just says it's a recent spike in drug overdoses. It doesn't classify
So I'll
what
show
the
you what
drugs
they give
are.
you for a map. Ooh, where is it? I just saw
John's
it.
looking something up. Melissa's looking
Yeah,
something
so
up.
they'll show you the map.
Oh, yeah.
And this one doesn't give you the dots. This one's just giving you like
It
the
just
blacked
colors.
out regions. But
Yep.
there are some that they post that give you the
Those
dots.
are all the ones you saw are all the ones out west, all the rural
Yeah, it
regions.
looks like the western part of the state.
Yeah.
All right. Well, did you hear about the zebra at Roger Williams Zoo?
Yeah.
No,
Poor
tell
zebra.
me.
Oh, it got spooked during the thunderstorms from last Thursday, and
Oh.
it bolted and it ran into a fence and basically killed themselves.
Oh, gosh.
24-year-old animal named Samantha has been there for quite a while, and as soon as she hit the fence, they said she died instantly. I don't know if it's electrified fence or what, or it just cut an artery or whatever.
Yeah, I don't
but
know.
yeah, but now they're down to just two. They only have two? Well, they only had three.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. You think? I thought they'd have
it's
more
not
there.
a
but
massive. It's not like Animal Kingdom, so there's not unlimited amount of
I know
running pasture.
but aren't there
room,
like
so-
4 or 5 elephants there? I just thought they'd be more.
Yeah,
It's kind of sad.
Maybe.
You only have one other friend.
that's true.
Yeah.
You know,
wanna
you
get
think
some more
about that.
is.
Just two zebras hanging out.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
And they don't say if they're both the two that are left are both male or both female,
Oh, yeah.
and it doesn't say. So, but I look at it because I compare them to Southwick.
Yeah.
And they seem to have a lot more zebras there. So,
It's been a long time since I've been to the zoo.
all right,
You have
Although I have grandkids, and so
gonna
that's going to be
say,
happening.
Yeah, it's
that's
coming
going to
up.
start happening.
That'll be happening again.
all right. Melissa, you happy your daughter's got her first job? Your youngest daughter?
Yeah.
Is she
There's
excited?
relief as so I shouldn't. There's relief for us as parents because we believe in providing that
Yeah.
life skill experience at a young age.
Little
we have
work ethic.
A little work ethic. We have a lot of friends who I wouldn't say disagree, but they don't push it or promote it as much with their kids. I'm like, it's summer. Like, get out there. At
And
least,
do
I mean, they
something.
can't. At 15, you can only do 20 hours of work a week, anyways.
Right.
But I'm like, it's a little time filler. It's a little something, and also, I've made it
Teach
very
them
known.
how to earn money.
these kids today, they don't know how to talk to strangers. Like, they
Nope.
get very uncomfortable, very insecure, very all the things, all the anxiety, all the whatever. And so we, obviously, I like to talk. So, it is my mission constantly to push my kids
also
to do
your
things that they
secret
don't want
power.
to do. It is my secret power. And to teach them the gift of gab and to talk to a wall. Like, you have to be able to walk up to a stranger and engage in a conversation. And especially like leaving for college, I have my oldest going soon, but I won't go there yet. But my youngest, she's part of that generation where COVID hit and she was in 4th grade at the time. And so that was a pivotal year of like growth and maturity. And her whole grade is terrible. Like, you can go to a social function at the school and you look around and they're all buried in their phones, or they're only talking to the one person next to them. They walk by people with their heads down. They just don't. So anyways, getting her
Hold on for just a second.
Yep.
John's got to go.
Gotta go.
Oh, bye, John.
Oh, that's
Won't
right.
be here next week. And so I'll see you the week after next.
I won't see you for like over a month.
Well,
So
be
see you
that
in
way.
see you in August.
Be that way. See if I can.
See you in August-ish.
Have a good July then.
Yes.
Enjoy your
I
vacation,
know.
John, at
Thanks,
the scout
John.
camp down
Bye,
there in Virginia.
John. Keep listening. I know that you don't want to miss this part of the story.
But you're right about
Get in the car.
the
Turn it
lack
on. Hurry up.
of.
I know. Jump in the car. I'll stall in the story so you can hear me. Yeah. Bye. They don't.
But you're
They
right
don't.
about the interaction part.
Totally. So to put her into a cashier experience, she's good with numbers, good with money, good with computers. I wasn't
Okay.
worried about the training on that. But she was a nervous wreck. Like, I want to say stomach ache the whole day leading up to. She knew it was coming. She knew she had to go. She is. I'm proud of her for pushing through. 4-hour shift. Perfect, right? Went great. She was bagging at a grocery store for maybe 20 minutes before a line erupted, and they were like, yeah, you're up. Like, you need to do this yourself because we need to figure this out. I don't know what was happening. I don't know if it was the threat of weather on Tuesday, but this was Monday. Or
Yeah.
people coming back from the 4th and needing some groceries, whatever it was.
You got
Trial
crowded.
by fire.
Yeah.
First customer puts just a Hershey bar on the belt. Well, the belt doesn't have a sensor, I think, at her store where, like, when you hit the belt and it starts to go to the sensor and then it stops the
Right,
belt. Now I
yeah.
think the belt keeps going. And the belt ate the chocolate bar and it got jammed in there. When I tell you, she's telling us this story, and I can
That's a
just
great
see
story.
her like eruption of
panic
red on
in
the
her
face
eye,
and
right.
the panic and the what do I do? And I broke the machine like,
Oh,
in
my
the
goodness.
first out of the gate. It was hysterical. And then of course last night was her second night of the job, and she came home with a story about a difficult customer, and we'll just call her Karen. Because all the young kids like to
the poor
reference
Karens
Karen,
out there,
right?
don't
And
worry.
soccer
Yeah.
mom named Karen.
Yeah.
And I think what's hard with grocery stores today, and I'm victim to it too, is they've got sales, but they're confusing and they're not. And this was a holiday weekend, so there were a lot of deals for 3 days, but they might not have extended into the week, right? Or the 3 days are over, and this woman was just berating my daughter. And I'm laughing and enjoying this. And she's like, Mom, it was awful. And she was so mean to me. And she was holding me accountable. Like, I'm the one that made the prices. And I was trying to explain to her. And I just found the whole thing awesome.
Yeah.
It was
All right.
awesome because I hope that there's some people listening that understand what I'm going through with a teenage kid in today's world who needs to have that pushback,
Right.
like needs to find their voice. And she's getting there. And it's only day
Maybe
2.
not the second day, but
I know it's only day 2, but I mean, maybe I'm a bad mom, and you're probably gonna think.
No, listen, that was the worst. I hated working a cashier.
Yeah.
When I worked many moons ago, as we all know, at McDonald's, they used to, every once in a while, put me on the cash register in the front.
they did that with me too.
I
don't
never
know
liked
why.
the cash register.
That's 'cause
I'm
you're a
like,
friendly
"Just
face with a
give
big
me the
smile."
fryer later. I'll take the
cook the
greasy
food,
face and the
yeah.
acne, and I'll just cook my food, and I'll be good with it. And I'll put me on the grill, and I'll smash hamburgers. But then you put me in front of people, and I'm like,
You gotten better, Tim.
I have a little better. I could do it now. I don't mind doing it.
And
now.
my daughter's gotten better too, because
Yeah.
dealing with people at Dunkin' Donuts and the drink's all wrong, and now you got to do it again. And she's
Yeah.
also over at Old Navy. This
Yep.
is supposed to be $3. It rang up at $5. So
Yeah.
fine. Someone wanted a discount because it was stained. The shirt. They said the shirt's stained. They said no, it came that way. It's supposed to look like
Yeah.
that.
Some kids. I like some kids who really get it. How to handle customers, and some find a groove in retail. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could work in retail anymore. But we have a friend whose son works up at Calvin Klein at the Rentham outlets, and he just does such a great job. And the management love him because they're like, you could work here full time and you could be a manager. And he goes, I like just working part-time and filling in because he's got a job over at CVS, so he's fine. But he does this because it's fun and it's extra cash.
Little
and he
extra
can,
cash.
And he can be in front of a lot of people all day long, and sometimes it's great and sometimes it's a challenge. But some kids just find their voice doing stuff like that.
I think there's some joy in. I've shared with you before that I don't know if I told you. I worked at Bath and Body Works my senior year of high school, freshman.
Which
sophomore-
one, Melissa?
The one at Emerald Square Mall.
Oh, I probably bought stuff from you.
Did it
then.
for the disc, and you were probably a sucker customer of mine because I used to be able to. The guys that would come
Upsell.
in, oh my god,
you need this and
you
this
need this.
and
Let me
this
build
and
you a
this.
basket. That's back when they used to like buy an empty basket and you could
Oh,
just.
so you are the one.
I'm that one. Oh, 100%. I should have been on commission with the amount of sales that it was great. But I went to college and I took that job with me and I worked at the mall up near UNH and did that for a little bit. And then I switched over to Crate and Barrel, which is like, when I tell you, my husband understands it's in our retirement plan that once one of my daughters has their first baby, I will be helping out and supporting them. I'll be leaving my job. St. Antoine knows that. And
well, they get a little while
It's
to
years.
away.
It is years down
and,
the road.
And I will be going back to Crate and Barrel, and I will work part-time for them because I had such joy in that job. And I understand it's like a higher-end customer clientele,
Yeah.
but I took joy in stage setting. Like, I was the person who set the glasses and set the little window designs and, like, the whole top down.
Oh, I can totally see you
like
doing
OCD, making things
Yeah.
pretty. Pure joy in that, and then the customer service side of it. And I just think you do have to be the right personality. It has to be like a customer service engagement thing. But when you feel like you've helped someone,
Yep.
and then you made a sale,
I made a sale.
you know, and it's not in your pocket, but it just feels good.
Yeah.
You know, it's true.
All right, we're going to take a break again here on Coffee In. So, Tim, time for a second message from Navigate Credit Union.
Thanks, Joe. The first message was all about all the great changes that we made. Second message is a repeat message we talk about a lot, and that is about fraud and exploitation and financial exploitation. We just want people to be prepared. In today's day and age, last night there was a story about somebody AI'd Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, on that one of those apps that they all use trying to get information.
Wow.
And very accurate, very convincing. People are doing that now to try to get you to give them information over the phone. If somebody's calling you and asking you for information, that is red flag number one. It should be high on the flagpole, waving back and forth. Never give information to somebody calling you, trying to pressure you into a situation where they're making you feel uncomfortable, they're making you nervous or scared. All I can say is just say, thank you very much, I'm going to call you back. Hang up the phone. Don't use any phone numbers that they've given you. Go to our public published website, navigancecu.org. Go to 233-4700 and call us and ask us if we're asking you for this information. Because, quite honestly, if we're asking for the information, it's in your record somewhere that we need this piece of information. So the cautionary tale is just very simple, very easy. Don't engage in somebody who's reaching out to you to get information. Always second guess it and always dial back to the place that's asking for information and make sure that that's exactly who they say they are. And don't use the number they give you. And that's all I have to say.
All right, Tim, thank you. More of the Coffee In
Done.
program is coming up. Stay tuned.
ON Radio.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the entire job, all from one partner. To get access to over 3 million products, including many products you won't find in our stores. It's time to get delivery on your schedule or next day on over 50,000 products. And time to get dedicated support on the job site or in our stores. From ordering to planning, we've got you. One partner, any job, all in. Ask about all we can now do at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
ON Radio. ON Worldwide.
All right, it's Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith and Tim Draper's here. John Ward had to go. Now, there's this task force in Massachusetts. Some members of the Massachusetts Task Force WOON, they're on their way to Texas and helping out with the flooding and the disaster down there. The task force is part of the National Urban Search and Rescue System, and there's the people in Massachusetts that are part of that. So they're heading down there to go help out in any way they can. The death toll by there is over 100. As you know, many still not accounted for. Just an awful situation.
I feel bad. There's so many things I've heard about. Did the National Weather Service give people enough notice? And apparently there were like extra people on that day because they knew this thing was coming. They told everybody. I don't know whether that camp was in, sometimes you hit a bad cell and you don't get all that information reported. So they didn't know that it was going to be so bad. And like the blizzard of 78, I don't think anybody knew it was going to be that bad.
Well, when the real big alerts came, it was
but it drives
in the
me
middle
nuts.
of the night.
Right.
So
it drives me nuts when people politicize it.
Oh, yeah.
And immediately it's the cuts that the Trump administration made to the National Weather Service that created this environment. It's not at all. They had more people on at that point.
We need a head on a spike.
You need somebody.
It's this person's fault.
Right. It's Mother Nature. Put her head on the spike.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, this
it's
is not
tragic, and we should treat it as
This
such.
is not a school shooting type topic. This is weather. This
This
is
is
a
tragic,
natural
and it's-
disaster.
Yeah.
I think the saddest stories are really when you listen to like the camp counselors that, are telling the kids not to be afraid of the storm, go back to bed, and just I'm sure that's going to sit with them forever. That there were severe storms, and they were asking these kids to sleep through them like no big deal, like a regular thunderstorm. And I don't think you can ever recover from that. I don't know.
Not if you're a counselor and and you're probably a young counselor at that, right? You're
18, 19.
Yep.
Yeah.
These are not. Yeah, and the faces of these kids, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah,
sure. Did you
it's-
see the footage of the school bus of kids getting bussed like away during it?
Yes.
And they were singing like religious song, and that was just so eerie because you thought they showed the river behind them as somebody was videotaping on the bus, and I thought, oh my God, I'm sure they watched bodies going down this river. Like they saw debris and stuff, but these kids probably witnessed things that will haunt them forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Awful.
In other news, a city councilor in Massachusetts who has been charged in the high-end brothel investigation will not be seeking re-election.
Shocking.
Yeah.
They got a better job somewhere.
Cambridge councilor Paul Toner made the announcement on Monday. He says he believes a re-election campaign would be successful, but he has decided to step back from elected office and pursue other opportunities.
I would have won, but I'm just not gonna.
He was one of the 28 men named as defendants in the brothel investigation in March. Police say he paid for sex at least 13 times between February and September 2023.
Is he married?
It does not say.
Uncomfortable.
It does not say.
That's uncomfortable.
No, doesn't say anything about kids or anything like that. So, all right. The good news: it's National Sugar Cookie Day.
Oh,
Really?
I didn't even know.
Oh man, if you knew, your kitchen could have.
We would have whipped something up. I had no idea.
Yep. Not a lot of ingredients go into
Why
making.
now? Can I ask that question?
Why?
Why in July?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Why sugar
You think it'd be
cookie? I think
Christmas,
Christmas,
right?
right? Yeah.
There is some debate, but it's believed the treat can be traced back to German Protestant settlers that came to Pennsylvania in the mid 1700s.
Well, it's like you said, it's a basic.
Well, there's not much
Cookie.
to it.
Well,
yeah.
if you're gonna go
flour.
German on this, my Dutch grandmother, and I always consider like German and Dutch
Dutch.
traditions are very similar.
Very similar languages.
She had a very specific sugar cookie, but it was actually more like a butter cookie, and it is.
Yeah.
But they used to always do it in the round circles, and they still would do the fork just like it's a peanut butter cookie. Some of you might be used to those, but oh my gosh, the butter cookies, the Dutch butter
just
sugar
melt it
cookies.
in your mouth. That's why I
Melt
look
in your
this way,
mouth.
Melissa.
So
I love a
bad,
good cookie.
so bad, so good, all of it.
Did you hear about the man in Florida down at New Smyrna Beach? He was bitten by a shark while surfing.
No,
Yeah,
but yeah.
But he vows to go surfing again.
Well, that's just crazy.
Yes, it's just crazy.
It's just
They're
crazy.
after you,
I didn't want to go swimming after Jaws.
Matt Bender was surfing on Sunday off New Smyrna Beach when he was bitten on the arm. Despite what he says was a lot of lost blood, he was able to get back to shore and get help. From there, he was taken to the hospital, treated, and released. Says he'll be back at it again and won't let his shark encounter keep him from surfing. What a man, huh?
I don't understand. So there was just a story I read this morning that in Buzzards Bay there were some paddleboarders that this was just yesterday. It was reported that they saw a great. Did you see this story?
No,
a great
but
white shark, And I thought, and it showed a picture of them on their paddle boards, and the fin is going by them. And I thought, what are you doing? A paddle board anywhere off the coast of the Cape, that far out. What are you thinking? Go on a lake with a paddle board. Don't go in the ocean where there's sharks.
It's just the number of sharks up here. My aunt used to have a house in Harwichport, so we used to go to the summers there. And Monomoy Point, the beach out on the edge of the Cape, is filled with seals. I mean, it's just
right there,
seal heaven, right? It is a dinner galore for the sharks.
Ringing
and
the
when the
dinner
water
bell.
warmed up enough that they could come up the coast, I mean, that's where they're at.
They are
literally right there at the elbow of the Cape, feasting on. So I'm not going in the water. I mean, I'll go to boat,
especially
but
because
I'm
a
not going in the
paddleboard is not. I mean, it's not much bigger
There's
than
no-
a surfboard.
It looks
no
like
protection there.
And you're like, and you look like a seal. And
Right.
if your feet are dangling off a little bit and you're making little
Yeah.
splashes, you
You're
look
a
like a
fin.
seal.
Right, right.
And
even,
I just,
even the bay, the Pleasant Bay that's there, that we were on it's deep enough that sharks could come in the channel and do their thing.
One of the funnier stories I read was yesterday down in Nantucket, and this man was fishing and caught a shark, but he decides he's going to release the shark back into the water.
Is that the one where the guy held the tail and he walked out into the water?
I'm not sure, but when he went to go release the shark turned around and bit him first, and then
Of
took
course.
off.
That's because if you watch that video,
Yeah.
he's holding on to the tail to put him in the water
Oh, yeah.
a little too long.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, he's got him in the
Like,
water.
let me
and
go?
he's like, I think he knew he was on camera and he was
Oh,
just showing
he's
off.
trying to be
Oh,
cute.
And then he got
man.
deep enough in the water and the shark went, oh, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Turn around and nipped
I
at the
gotta
guy.
watch that video.
It's not a
Yeah.
great white. It's a shark that's in
It's like
those waters anyway, like a sandbar
bull
shark.
shark or something. Yeah,
it's supposed to be there. It's not like, oh,
All
this is
And
a
it's
sharks are
supposed to be
scary,
docile too. It's not supposed to be like a
Yeah,
man
but you're not
all
letting
sharks.
me go.
Yeah.
I'll show you kind of thing. So
Exactly.
that's really funny. All right. The IRS now says churches can endorse political candidates without losing their tax exempt status.
Really?
Yes, how about that? The change is a 7-decade-old policy known as the Johnson Amendment, was noted in a new court filing Monday alongside the National Religious Broadcasters Group. It was part of a lawsuit settlement brought by the group and 2 Texas churches claiming the Johnson Amendment violated their First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and religion. A judge has yet to rule on the filing. So, wow.
That's interesting because there's a lot of churches out there. I mean, there's some real conservative churches down south, right? And then there's some more liberal churches up here. And now, of course, I'm a Roman Catholic. My guess is that we probably err on the very liberal side,
I would think so.
right? Even though we're conservative
Yeah.
in nature in the traditions that they have in the church, they're pretty liberal on where money and dollars and things
especially
like
in
that
terms
need to go.
of migrants and immigration.
Right.
It's let everybody in. Because
Right.
we're all God's children.
Right.
Kind of thing.
So it's going to be.
But I've
interesting.
had a priest actually say during Mass, I cannot tell you who to vote for like president.
Right.
It is against the law.
But now I guess.
But no, but I can talk about the amendments that were on the ballot at the
Yeah.
time. And I think there was an abortion one.
Yeah.
So, well, gee, I wonder where you're going to stand on this.
Yeah. Right.
Kind of thing. But yeah, you actually said I cannot tell you who to vote for.
But he must be able to now if that.
But now
if that
you,
goes
but
through.
now you can. Wow.
Well, unless the church itself has an internal policy that says, yeah, priests are
Don't.
not going to comment in political. I would hope they would say that.
And say we're not going to endorse anybody.
Yeah,
But
you know what?
you
Those
never know,
those
though.
churches, the super churches down south and the west. Interesting.
Yep. All right.
I'm going to refrain from
how about-
any comment
Yeah, I know,
on
well,
this area.
How
Probably
about
not a bad idea.
TSA? You can keep your shoes on again.
I just heard that.
So I just
Thank
spent all that
God.
money on global entry for nothing.
TSA is going to end its shoe removal policy
Thank God.
at some airport security checkpoints, but they are going to spread it out to all of them eventually.
Yeah.
According to multiple reports, the agency sent an internal memo to security officers about testing the new policy in a soft launch at security checkpoints. Several locations where shoes will no longer need to come off include Baltimore Washington International Airport, LaGuardia in New York, LAX, Philadelphia, and Fort Lauderdale. On Monday, the TSA said it's exploring new and innovative ways to enhance the passenger experience.
Right. Well, that's based on that guy Richard, what's his face, that tried the shoe bomber
shoe
tried to
bomber.
write his. But I got to think, there's 20 years have passed since that's happened.
That's right.
There's got to be technology that's bomb sniffing whatever on your clothes, your bag, your shoes. So even if you have shoes on, if you've got something in your soles of your shoe, I gotta think it's
Maybe
gonna
that
detect
thing that thing you step into,
Yeah.
you
It's
got to put
gonna
your arms up.
detect it.
It should
Right.
catch it there as well.
Well, yeah, right.
They must.
Goes
It's
around.
like, then they have the sniffers now. I went through an
Yeah?
airport once where you put the bag in and it blew some air at it.
Really?
And it's like it was testing for bomb making material or something.
I did read if you get pulled aside, like for extra checkpoints kind of thing, then they'll ask you to take your
Right.
shoes off there. And if
It
there's
seems
an
like
issue.
I'm always the one in a group that gets pulled on a line and they wand me down.
You
and
look
I'm like,
very
"Jeez."
suspect.
I do, don't I?
Yeah, you
I
got
get
that.
that.
I look
look.
like a terrorist.
The one time the guy, he goes, I got to check your shoulder. All right. And he, massaged it a little. Felt pretty good. And then it's like, okay, you're all set. I go, I don't ask questions. I have no idea what he was looking for. But,
Yeah.
well, all
He
right.
violated you, and you didn't even
But I was-
stand up for
but
yourself.
I
Body my
I was
choice.
okay with
my
it.
body, my choice.
My choice.
Can you do the other one too?
Now that would have been
While
funny.
you're at it.
Since you're there.
Yeah, since you're already in the mode.
All right, that does it for the show for today. Thank you very much for listening in, everyone. Always appreciate it. Our thanks to John Ward, who was here earlier, and Tim Draper. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Joe, for having me, and everybody go on out there. And I know it's going to be a little overcast for the morning, but enjoy the God-given day.
All right, Melissa
Yep.
Smith, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. See you next week.
All right, this is Joe Callahan. Have a great day. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do remember, it's coming up after the 9 o'clock news here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. More than 160 people are still missing in central Texas days after sudden heavy rains triggered catastrophic flooding that killed over 100 people. Kerrville Mayor Joe Herring Jr. says he's still processing everything that's happened.
There's some anger, of course. I lost 2 friends in this flood, and I would do anything to have warned them that the river was way. I would do anything.
The flooding likely did $18 billion to $22 billion in damage, according to an AccuWeather estimate. President Trump and